stronger together. In these halls where policies brainstorm and actions start to be potentially implemented, I wanted to talk to you about not who's here with us today, but about who's missing from these rooms and from our computer screens for whoever is watching. I wanted to talk to you about our children. I also wanted to talk to you about the children in you and about the children in the future. My daughter will be 3 years old in a month. And for now, with the impending climate crisis, with growing inequality across the globe, with the precarization of resources for the global majority, with cities where it is impossible to find somewhere affordable to live, with increasing debt, with escalating policing and militarization, with herbicides, genocides, and ecocides, I wanted to talk to you about other futures. I wanted to present to you today for a reflection on the concept of stronger together, a manifesto for our children, with the hope that this can lead to changes of mind and perhaps changes in policy. As impoverished urban and rural communities face the ravages of climate change, as our existence is threatened by colonialism, colonial debt, extractivism, militarism, and the continued decimation of life in colonial expeditions of occupation and neoliberal experiments of commodification and privatization, I wanted to share with you a 3-point manifesto about how to move into the future. So here is this manifesto in 3 points, dear daughter. Number 1, listen to your anti-racist, anti-colonial, indigenous, black, poor, racialized feminists. Listen to your transfeminist activists and organizations. They reveal interlocking oppressions and offer the most accurate readings of time and place. If they have access to dignified housing, if they have access to clean water and education, if they are not being persecuted and incarcerated, if they are free, we will all be free. With chants that include housing its healthcare, decolonized farming, trans rights are human rights, Black trans lives matter, they continue to show that the truly equitable futures are being drawn not in the Capitoliums and city halls, but by women, trans, and non-binary folks marching collectively down the streets, in the encampments and mutual aid communes, like La Colectiva Feminista en Construcción in Puerto Rico, or Great Plains Action Society in Iowa. Radical ecological, anti-racist, anti-colonial, solidarity work is being done in cities, towns, in barrios and townships all across the world by grassroots organizations, sometimes facing state and corporate sanctioned violence. How can we ensure their safety and their integration on the largest discourses about planning, while racialized and impoverished women, trans, and non-binary folks continue putting their lives on the line to have a dignified life and create a better future for all? True politics and policies for positive social transformation must mean that those who want our collective benefit get to be heard, get to participate, get to enact change, get to be empowered. Number 2, we must abolish the plantation and the infrastructures of segregation that come from it. And everywhere you look, the plantation is there, whether in the Caribbean where I come from, in the Great Plains where I work, in Hawaii, in Palestine, in Congo, in Kanaki. The calls are all the same. End colonialism, end the destruction of life, no more displacement, desplazadas nunca más, no more gentrification, nosotras contra la deuda, us against the debt, chinga la migra, and austerity. The plantation is in the checkpoints and border walls, but also in the closings of schools, in the commodification of housing, in the privatization of beaches, in the destruction of our forests. The legacy of the plantation is in the estimated 150 million people that are homeless worldwide, and the 1.6 billion people that lack adequate housing. The legacy of the plantation is in the colonial debt that ravages our communities and every so-called post-colonial state. It is estimated that around 777 trillion have been looted in resources from Africa alone. How can we rebuild a fair future without reparations if our cities are either being defunded, toxified, or bombed, and our migrating relatives are mistreated once they reach the so-called global north made up of imperial and colonial powers. There is no future without access to dignified housing, without good food, water, and health care. There is no future where we are stronger together without the end of the plantation and the termination of colonial regimes. Number 3, the future is for us together, dear daughter, or there is no future. So, dear daughter, this is a great opportunity for creativity and to think about the future. That is not just for you, but for all. Think of others even when it doesn't include you. Trans folk, women and children, people with disabilities of the global majority. Think of the extraction that takes place somewhere else to make your comfortable life possible. There can be no separation between the city and the country. It is important that we address inequality in our urban context, right to housing, the end of displacement, as it is to avoid the destruction of other territories and other ways of life that have resisted and have been affected by the violent path of modernization. Whether living in urban conditions or outside of it, but affected by our cities, indigenous people all around the world have protected 80% of the world's biodiversity. How can we account for the people marginalized from the cities in our city planning? It is time to listen to their struggles, their solutions, and their wisdom. Their leadership is vital in creating a just and sustainable future for all. So once again, dear daughter, this manifesto is a promise to you, a commitment to fight for a world where you can thrive together in community, an anti-racist, anti-colonial world built on justice, equity, and love. It's a call to action for everyone in this room and beyond. Let's work together, stronger together, to build this future. Let's listen to the voices of those most marginalized and impacted. Let's dismantle the systems of oppression that hold us down and send us spiraling in detriment of each other and in detriment of community. And let's embrace a vision of a future where everyone has a place to call home, a community to belong to, and a chance to live a dignified life. Let's continue fighting for our right to imagine, for world making, and for world keeping. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.